Today, I want to cover a topic with the AnilNOW GOYA mentorship around becoming a person of value, rather than a person who's known for doing stuff. And in today's lesson, I'm going to explain why that makes a lot of sense. You see, when we look back on the year that's gone, as we usher in a new year, it's important to ask ourselves, did we create what we wanted? Did we attract what we wanted? Did we magnetically pull to us what we wanted? Did we become the person we wanted to become in order to accomplish what we wanted? Or were we someone that just ran around like a chicken with our head cut off, doing, hoping to generate results? See, that's how the majority of the planet functions. The majority of the planet has the belief and the programming that in order to accomplish whatever they want, they have to run around and hustle and chase and pursue and convince in order to get things done. Whereas a small percentage of the planet, let's just say anywhere from 5 to 10%, these are the people that do the opposite. What they do is they become a person of value so that other people chase, pursue, run after them. And that's a very powerful and interesting phenomenon. And when we look at who we quote are successful, it doesn't really matter. It could be finances, health, relationships, spirituality. Success encompasses all those things. Success is not just money and business. When we look at what true success is and what it denotes, uh, it's very important to consider that instead of chasing after and running and pursuing and convincing, it makes more sense to attract, to magnetically pull, to draw people to us, to have people coming after us. And it's interesting. One of the things I do is I read biographies and study people that I admire. And this week I was studying Daniel Craig, James Bond, or the previous James Bond, because we have a new James Bond now. And it was interesting watching his interviews and reading about him that when he was approached about James Bond, he was not interested. First of all, he thought he was too short. He was comparing himself to Sean Connery and Roger Moore and other famous Bonds, and he was like, I don't even come in the same category as these famous Bonds, especially Sean Connery, okay, who's also my favorite Bond. He thought the script was stupid. He actually rejected, when he read the script, he rejected it. He goes, no, I'm out. I don't want to be Bond. So the Bond people had to chase him and pursue him to be Bond and beg him to do Bond. Isn't that interesting? And then he reconsidered and he looked at the role again. And I was also reading and studying what he's accomplished. And I just want to share that with you quickly. What happens when we work on ourselves and become a person of value? So when we look at what the internet has to say, what Google has to say, this is not me, this is Google. So check this out. Sorry, I need some coffee. It says here for Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, Spectre, and No Time to Die, look what he's able to generate, almost 100 million in income. Now, that's just what he got paid. Never mind all the endorsements, everything else. So it's easy to say he easily earned over 100 million, and he's probably going to keep getting paid whenever these movies are aired on television, whenever, DVDs are sold, people download it, whatever. So he's going to get an ongoing residual as well. This is just upfront money. So this is someone who rejected being James Bond. Isn't that fascinating? Okay. And it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes around this. Let me just bring that up. It reminds me of one of my favorite quotes around this that I want to share with you. by, again, the late, great Jim Rohn, who I got to meet and get trained by quite a few times in my career as an entrepreneur. He said, you can have more than you have got. So basically, you can have more than what you currently have, because here's why: you can become more than you are. Now, think about that for a second. And I have a question for you. When you look back on your year, did you become more than you were? Did you work on yourself? Did you read books? Did you do self-improvement? Did you work on your health? Did you make an effort to understand how money works? Did you work on your spirituality? Did you improve on your relationships? Or here's the question I ask people all the time: did you stay the same person hoping to accomplish something you've never accomplished before? See, one of my mentors said this to me years ago, and it really resonated with me. It still resonates with me whenever I approach something. He said to me, Anil, do you know why you haven't created what you want to create to date? Because I was involved in a project and it was kind of dragging its heels. He says it has nothing to do with the project and what you're doing. And it has nothing to do with whether or not you're a good person or a bad person or an amazing person. It has nothing to do with any of that. What you have taken on, you are not prepared and ready for it, because you haven't become the person you need to become in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So let me make a suggestion to you. Take some time and understand yourself, figure out what tools you need in your toolbox, figure out the mindset and attitude you need, become the person you need to become in order to get that done. And when he said that to me, that really hit home. It really was like a pattern interrupt. It helped me to appreciate, to stop, and to take inventory with myself and accountability, and to start working more on myself. And as I worked more and more on myself, and I started reading up about how to become better with myself, and I did personal seminars, personal development seminars. I started spending more time with myself. I started journaling. I started writing down things and understanding things. The project came together really fast and really quickly. Isn't that interesting? And for that entire time, I was running around and doing meetings and talking to people and chasing, pursuing, running after people, and nobody was taking me seriously. Until I started working on my language, I started working on my mindset, my attitude, how I approached things, how I dealt with people, how I was in meetings, how I was as a negotiator. Once I started doing all of that, everything around me started transforming and shifting. And it's almost like I got the universe to conspire in my favor. You know, like I got the planet and I got people to conspire in my favor, and everything came together. It's like playing poker and you had a conversation with the deck and you said, look I want to be dealt 4 aces, right? I want to be dealt 4 aces, whatever that looks like. 2 in my hand, 2 on the flop, whatever. And the deck gave you the 4 aces. That's what I'm talking about here. He says you can have more than you have got, because you can become more than you are. And that's from Mr. Jim Rohn. So when we consider that, and what I shared with you with that one example with Daniel Craig, with James Bond, if Daniel Craig, who rejected James Bond, didn't want nothing to do with it, gave them back the script for the first movie and said, I don't even qualify to be Bond. And everybody ran after him because they saw in him the next James Bond. Could that mean for you and I when people look at us? When people consider us to be on their team or business arrangement or partnerships or whatever, is that what they see when they look at us? Do they see someone working hard on themselves, on their language, whatever? Or do they just see someone busy and running around and chasing and pursuing and convincing and time wasting? You may think, and I may think, that's a value. That's not a value, because that's like everybody else. You know, sometimes I talk to people and I say, well, how's your year going? How are things going? Well, Anil, things are tough. You know, I've been meeting with people. I've been telling people what's been going on and sharing with them about my plans, and no one's taking me seriously, or people are avoiding me or ghosting me, or not getting involved. And people promised me money. They were going to invest in me and they haven't done it yet. or they promised they would partner with me and they haven't done it yet. And then I look at the person and I ask them this question. Okay, I get all that. Can I ask you a question? And don't take this personally. In fact, you may be sitting down. I recommend you sit down for this question. And it's a question I ask myself all the time. So I'm not singling you out. I include myself in this conversation. I hear what you're saying. However, here's my question to you. Who have you become in the process that would warrant these people wanting you in their relationship, in their business as a partnership? What value do you bring to the table? Have you become a valuable person? Or you think in your heart and mind, you should be part of this, or you should be involved in this project, or be part of this business, or part of this arrangement? Because that's tied to your ego. And that has nothing to do with being valuable. Some of the most valuable people in the world have amazing attitudes. They're humble. Look at them when they have interviews. They talk about where they came from obscurity and nothingness to being some of the most powerful, influential people on the planet. And they're super humble about it. Like they say stuff like, I don't deserve this. I don't even know how I got here. Like, look at me. I'm nothing special. I'm not even good looking. I have no hair on my head. They just are real about themselves and humble because they realize that they became a person of value. And that's why people ran after them. Daniel Craig didn't realize he was a person of value from his previous record in movies and film and theater and drama that people wanted him to be James Bond. He didn't get that. He thought it was his look. It wasn't. He's the shortest James Bond in history. James Bond is a tall character. If you look at the Pierce Brosnan, Timothy Dalton, Sean Connery, Roger Moore, they're taller than Daniel Craig. But it's how he viewed himself. So isn't that interesting? It's how we view ourselves. So here's what I recommend to people. Here's what I recommend to you. Here's what I recommend to myself. Stop. Just stop. And take introspection. Look at yourself and say, wait a second. Why am I behind the 8 ball a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, and I haven't created what I want as yet? What is going on? Is it the planet? Is it people? Is it God? Is it my parents? Is it my family? Is it my friends? Is it the government? Is it religion? No, it's none of those things. It's the person in the mirror. And in my career, in my professional career, mentoring and working with people and working on myself, one of the toughest and most difficult things to do on the planet is to teach someone to take responsibility for their life. Extremely difficult. It's one of the most difficult things because most people play victim and they point the finger and they blame others for their lack of whatever. So you want to be very careful of that you're not playing victim. You may not even know you're playing victim. So have a conversation with those you respect and give them the okay and the go ahead to point that out to you if you're playing a victim. Because you may be running around wasting time, wasting your days, being in meetings and wasting money, and you don't even realize you're running that program, playing victim. And it's very difficult for you to generate what you want. You see, as the late Jim Rohn says, become more over doing more. Become more over doing more. Become a person of value. Because you become a person of value, you can generate whatever you want. And I've been there. I've been there where I chased and pursued and ran after in personal relationships with being married and people and women I dated. I ran and chased and thought I was doing the right thing by providing safety and stuff and a home and cars and money and trips and shopping. That didn't get me anywhere because none of those women are around anymore in my life. None of them. And I did the same thing in business. And I'm talking thousands and thousands of people. And where are they today? They're not around. They don't even message me or check in on me to see if I'm breathing or not. And that's okay. I had to take responsibility for myself and take a look in the mirror about who I was being. Was I being a person of value? Or was I being someone that chased, pursued, convinced, ran after people? And I realized it was attached to my ego because I wanted people to like me and accept me and validate me and consider me and include me. But I quickly found out most of the people that surrounded me were only surrounding me for what they wanted, what they could get from being around me. And that was a reality I had to come to terms with. Today, I surround myself with just a handful of key people. That's all I need. And it's gone wonderfully well. I guard my time and my energy. I don't chase, pursue, run after anymore. And what I do is I magnetically pull and draw people to me by providing tremendous, tremendous value to them in whatever they're up to, their relationship, their business, their life, their spirituality, their health, their finances. And these people now are coming after me. They're chasing me. And it took a lot for me to make that huge shift where I stopped running after and chasing hundreds and thousands of people. And it made so much sense to me. I felt so free that it really helped me improve in a lot of areas of my life. So keep in mind, it's never too late to do what's proper and effective, and that works most of the time. So in conclusion, as you look back on the year and as we usher in a new year, ask yourself, did you become a person of value this year, or did you stay the same, hoping to accomplish what you want to accomplish? Can people look at you, your friends and family and business partners, and say, wow, that person is a totally brand new human being in many ways? Or when they look at you, they see the same old, doing the same thing, like a hamster, the hamster running in the wheel? Doesn't matter how fast they run, the scenery never changes. Is that when people look at you, is that what they see? Because I promise you, it's going to affect your personal relationship and your business relationships, because a lot of people are not going to be drawn to you. They're going to gravitate away from you because all they're seeing is the same thing repackaged. And you don't want to be that. See, when Daniel Craig came back to the table, he came back with a different mindset. He came back with a different view of himself. He started buying into the view of the people that wanted him to be James Bond had of him. So he had to transform how he looked at himself, and then started taking some new actions, some different actions in accordance with the role of Bond. And was it successful? Yeah, I would say he did a pretty good bang-up job of being the next James Bond. So I wanted to share that story with all of you today so that you understand that everybody goes through this. However, it's getting to that point and getting to that stage where you acknowledge the transformation is necessary. You take the steps to make that happen. You get into action, and then you do it consistently enough so you can generate the results you want. Okay? You need to get clear on that. If not, the next year is going to look the same as this year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. It's up to you and I to interrupt that unhealthy pattern. It's up to you and I to transform that way of being so we can become valuable than ever before and create and attract what we want with minimal effort. And so we get rid of chasing, pursuing, convincing, running after, twisting arms. We no longer are that person. We don't care. We don't care who calls us. We don't care who comes after us. We don't care who pursues us. And the minute you surrender that, you're free, and now it all starts coming together. And I'm going to share this one thing with you before I go. One of my other mentors said this to me years ago. He says, Anil, do you know what your problem is? And I go, what it is? He goes, you're out of control. You think you need to be in control to generate what you want. You think if it's got to be, it's up to you. He goes, let me share something with you. Do you know who has the most control ever? Is a person who can surrender control. The person who can surrender control can take it back at any moment. But the person who thinks they need to be in control is out of control. And it's very difficult for them to generate what they want. And he illustrated it this way. And I'll leave this with you in conclusion. Think about this. He goes, Anil, have you ever flown? Or been on a boat or a cruise ship or whatever, or been a passenger in someone's car? And I go, yeah. He goes, what are you? I go, well, I'm a passenger. He goes, yes. So you're putting full faith in the person at the wheel, or the person at the helm, or the person at the joystick, that they're taking you to the destination you want and they're going to get you there safely. Correct? I go, yeah. He goes, when you take off with an airplane and you look out the window, how do you know the pilot's taking you to your destination. Do you know? I go, no. I have full faith he's going to land the airplane at the airport that I need to go. So he goes, so what do? You just sit back in your chair, you relax, you have a drink, watch a movie, read a book, have some snacks, and you know that the pilot is taking you and everybody else on the aircraft to that destination, correct? Yes. He goes, that is what you need to do in your life. You need to surrender control, have full faith, everything's going to work out, and work on becoming valuable and work on yourself and just surrender, being in control all the time because you are out of control. You're out of control. So surrender that, surrender to purpose, surrender to transformation, surrender to creativity, surrender to love, power, value, surrender to those things. And I promise you, he goes, the plane's going to land at your destination and you don't have to worry about anything. So I just wanted to share that with all of you today about becoming person of value over someone chasing, running after, pursuing, convincing, twisting arms, convincing other people to, one, be in a relationship with you, two, be in business with you, and three, partner up with you for whatever you got going on. You got to interrupt that unhealthy, toxic program because it doesn't matter what you do, it's never going to work out. It's never. It's never going to work out. You can start a relationship now, join a partnership now, join a business now. It's not going to work out. You know why? Because you're bringing that thing that's always consistent, that which is you, to everything. And if staying that way has not worked out in the past, what makes you think it's going to work out now or work out in the future if you stay the same and don't interrupt those unhealthy patterns and become that person of value? Does that make sense? So this is Anil with Goya. I just wanted to do a quick mentorship video because this is the conversations, or these are the conversations I've been having with people for the past year and for my entire career, as a mentor, advisor, connector, you name it. So I wish you a wonderful day wherever you are. Have fun, enjoy it, live life to the fullest. Keep working on yourself to become a person of value. I'm around, message me, we can have conversation about this. I can help you interrupt those unhealthy patterns so you can start generating what you want and have the next year look like no other year ever in your life. Like you don't even recognize that year, like it was for me for this year. So I wish you the best. Be safe, be smart, and we'll chat soon. Cheers.